Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. This is going to be the final part for this module 5. Then we're going to have just a small couple of lessons about non-keyframe animation. And so let's get to it. As the title says, this is going to be the final attack, part 1. So first things first, we need to set up our scene. We're going to create a reference and we're going to go for our ultimate bunny right here. We're just going to reference this guy in. We already know about that. Lighting, two-sided lighting, there we go. Now I'm going to say file, and I'm going to reference one more thing. You're going to find in your files this rusty sword, which has textures as well. I'm just going to keep the textures off for now. And we're going to be using this rusty sword to animate this character using or brandishing a weapon. So what are we going to do? Well, first we need to do something similar to what we did with our, with our baseball. I'm going to move this thing. Let's rotate this 90 degrees so that it's flat on the ground. And I'm going to place this right there on the hand. So this is a one-hand sword, as you can see. Just position it right about there. And now I am gonna change this, of course, to FK. You know IK. You know I love IK for arms movement. And we're just gonna make sure that he's holding the sword. There's gonna be a little bit of overlap. That's completely fine. Let's push this guys in. There we go. And now the thumb. There we go. That way he's always going to be holding the sword. Now swords and weapons and any kind of element are going to be tricky because not only do we need to animate the body properly, now there's an extra thing that we need to actually take care of. You can see that the colors are a little bit dark. That's fine. You can go here actually and like increase the exposure. Let's say to like 2 if you want to see it a little bit better. Although it might blow everything else out of the frame. Just keep it at 0. That's fine. Now, what I'm gonna do here is I am just gonna do the constraint. So I'm gonna select this guy, driver, driven, constraint, parent constraint. Remember, the parent constraint should be with maintain offset turn on. So now wherever this hand goes and however we rotate the hand, he's always going to be holding the sword. So in this particular case, I don't want to use reference. I want to show you how we would approach a project where we actually don't have any sort of reference. Like we might have an idea, but we don't have any reference. And we need to think about like a final attack. So you probably know about like League of Legends, right? So League of Legends or any sort of game nowadays. Most of the games nowadays have something called ultimates. And it's, you know, this like super strong attack that the character does right at the end of the animation, and you're gonna have like a very extreme sort of effect. So we want to do something like that. We want to make sure that this character goes into a final attack. But before we do that, we need to do a simple idle just to get an idea of how this character is gonna behave. Is he gonna be like this very brave warrior? Is he gonna be like a timid guy that just is in the wrong place at the wrong time? Like all of these things we can define with our elements. I'm gonna go for like this very aggressive, almost let's say barbarian looking character. So I'm gonna make him go down here. Let's just rotate this a little bit. Let's open up the... So I want this to be like some sort of like tribal guy. He's just like, I need blood, I want blood, I want to kill everyone. So he's gonna be like a very, very brute force-ish animation. So let's open up the legs. I am gonna move this guy like here. So I'm thinking about like Hulk, Smash, something like that, right? Like this is, it's not like Hulk because he's a little bit smarter. He's using a weapon, but he's gonna be like really, really angry. Let's turn off the orient so that he's always looking forward. And we're just gonna position him like this. Now the sword, how is he gonna carry the sword? Is he gonna be like a really like well-trained character, or is he more like I just gonna slash and cut someone's throat, right? I think he's gonna go like very, very rudimentary, not a lot of form, like not a lot of formal training, let's say. And then this hand, let's make it like a really angry hand. So it's like a claw almost. There we go. He's really, really angry. He's like a... Again, I'm thinking about like Darius, right, from League of Legends. So Darius is of course a knight. He's trained, but it's just like pure raw energy and anger, right? So he's gonna be like really, really intense on his attacks. Let's lower the clavicle a little bit. Let's move this forward so that the elbow is bent. So this is his idle pose, right? And as we saw with the idle pose, we need to do a quick animation here. So I'm just gonna animate all of the curves real quick. Let's go like a couple of frames after this. Let's frame 2. And now we're just gonna like push him. So what is he gonna do? Oh, he's gonna of course like just go back. Like this arm is gonna just go down here. This guy's gonna go like here. Like maybe, like not just like here, maybe we can just rotate a little bit as well. And maybe he goes like, as if he was like kind of like breathing, right? So he's gonna go like this. It's gonna be like, you got me? So this is kind of like the effect we want to achieve. Grab all of the curves again. Let's go frame 1, frame 3, S, and we get this. 1, 2, 3. Now we already know the trick. We can just scale this up. Let's say like 40 frames or something. Let's snap so that all of the frames are nicely done. And we get this. Cool. Okay, we get this very nice, like, intense effect. I think this hand, it would be cool if he goes, like, forward a little bit. You're like, ugh. I think the legs are a little bit too far apart. So I'm just gonna move him forward or up a little bit. Just a little bit there. I'm gonna copy the legs. Middle mouse click to that pose. So we're gonna get this. He's gonna go like really low and then really high. And again, first pose for all of the curves actually. First pose, we're just gonna copy and paste to the last pose. And we get this. Very nice. So very, very simple, just a normal looking effect here. Let's push the knee in. He's really, really angry, the guy. Okay, this guy looks super awkward, so let's go here and here. So it's gonna be like this, right? Now I'm gonna use the trick that I showed you before. I'm just gonna copy all of these guys, right click, copy, go into frame 41, right click and paste, there we go. And then right click here and paste, and here we go. And if we take a look, now we have of course this cycle. Now what can we do? We can of course go into the graph editor, we can spline everything just to get a little bit more of a softer edge. It's already gonna allow us to have this very nice effect. But now we're gonna do the overlap, right? So in this case, we're not doing a cycle. I just want to have a couple of breaths before he actually goes into action. So, but I want these breaths to look as nice as possible, right? So I am going a little bit ahead of what we normally do. Normally we would do all of the poses first, but I know that after the idle, that's when the real action is gonna start. So I'm comfortable doing the offset here because after this point, then we're just gonna go into like a normal animation direction. So usually the first thing that moves is the hips. So the hips are gonna kind of like move the whole thing. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna grab the chest, the hands. We can grab the elbows as well. And I'm just gonna go into the graph editor, grab everything, and just last 2 more frames. So now the hip's gonna move first, and then everything else. See how it looks like he's like dragging everything? That's very, very cool. That's what we're going for. Another thing we could do is, for instance, the hand. We can close the fist when he's going like down here. So I'm just gonna like close the fist here. Like this. Grab everything here. And I know that it's the second frame, so I'm just gonna go to the second frame and the second frame. And now my hand's gonna do this effect, right? This like claw effect. Now here, do we have an extra animation? Oh yeah, we do. So let's get rid of that extra animation that we have there. There we go. So now what's going to happen is, as we go down, we create this fist. And the fist, we can actually, give it a little bit of, what's the word, of an overlap as well, right? So let's grab like the middle section of the fist and the tips. Middle section and tip, middle section and tip. And all of this, guys, let's move it one frame. And then I'm just going to grab the tips, tip, tip, and tip. Grab all of this and one more. There we go. So now if we take a look, we're going to get this. Very aggressive looking guy, of course. I think this guy is looking weird, so I'm just gonna move the elbow in like this. And I'm just gonna copy the animation everywhere to all of the frames. Because really the elbow is not moving that much on this first section of the animation, so we're fine. And we get this. Now I don't want to start on frame 1, so I'm gonna start about frame 10 or something. That's where the animation is actually gonna start. Because frame 1, we have a little bit of overlap, right? A little bit of offset, so there's certain things that are not moving yet, and it would look a little bit weird. So there we go. Now, if I were to grab all of the curves right now, you will see that there's, of course, a lot of overlap. But as I mentioned, that's fine because we have this overlap, and here on frame 130, here's where we would actually start working on the animation for our character. So what's the animation that we are going to do? This is where we need to invent. We need to create certain things. So I'm going to give you one resource. This is a personal resource that I use as inspiration. Any video game, anything is good. But for instance, Super Smash Brothers, in case you guys don't know about this, it's one of the most famous games out there, especially for fighting games. There's this frame data site that I really like called Ultimate Frame Data. And every single character in the game is here. And you're going to be able to check and see each individual frame of all of the animations. So if we go, I think, who has like a very aggressive animation? Who's a sword user? So no, Roy has the sword on the other side. So probably like Ike, right? So Ike, as you can see here, has a lot of animations where he uses the sword. And the cool thing about this is I don't want you to copy I don't want you guys to copy the animations frame by frame, which of course you could. I want you to see the animations and use the animations as an inspiration to do something interesting, right? So, for instance, I really like this guy right here, this lower punch. But why not combine it with something else? Why not try a jump first? Like he's gonna jump into the ground and then he's gonna smash whatever is in front of him with that downwards slash. So now is where we start thinking about our key poses. And here we can again use the same technique that we used before where we just focus on the main poses. So let's do that. Let's try a jump since we've been doing a lot of jumps throughout the series. So let's go like frame 114. And for the jump, we're going to need a preparation, right? So here we're going to go down. It's probably going to raise the sword a little bit so it doesn't push the ground. I want to again make him look very like primal, very like tribal. So maybe he goes down like a kind of like a monkey, right? Like this sort of like monkey stance, and he's gonna bring his what's the word? His hand right here to the center, and let's use the fingers as a sort of he's not gonna support himself with the fingers. I just want his fingers to kind of like touch the ground. Think about like an American football player or from the NFL where they kind of like touch the ground just to kind of stabilize, is that a word? Stabilize themselves a little bit. So something like this. Make sure that everything looks nice, all the curves, all the poses. This is our final project, right, guys? So we want to make sure that this is as nice as possible. I would say that he would slide this foot back a little bit. And then, of course, the knee should be almost touching the ground. Probably not that high then. Probably something like this. So the knee can touch the ground like this. And then if we really want the hand to get there, we can use the clavicle, of course. Look at this. Great pose. Let's move this knee out. Now let's really, really bring him out. He's like, I'm really gonna get this guy. So we need to think about an imaginary enemy somewhere, right? But we have this very cool pose. Again, staging. This is one of the other principles of animation we've been talking about. Staging. Let's stage this guy so that if we were to like print a statue of this pose, the pose would be great. So this one right here, I think looks really, really cool. Probably twist the fit right there. So we're gonna get this thing. We're gonna this idling. He's gonna like get ready. We need to, of course, check some of those poses, but don't worry. And then he's gonna just launch forward, like jump really high. This is going to be a little bit like anime-ish, like very, very cartoony looking. This is not something normal. It's going to look cool. So let's go here. Now, the fact that there's something here tells me that there's some sort of animation. I just want to animate everything. There shouldn't be any animation. Oh, we do have animations. Okay, I'm just going to erase all of these animations. Because after this, like the final breath, he's going to use it to get here. So now if we take a look at the whole animation, we get this. He's like 1, 2, 3, and then boom, he's gonna jump, right? So on the third one, he's just gonna like rise up and do the attack. So here we will have the stretch. The next pose is the stretch. But I don't want to do the stretch just yet, because if we start just like going forward, we would be using this technique, this animation technique, which is pose, that's not pose to pose, it's straight ahead, right? So I want to do the pose to pose effect. So instead of focusing on the stretch, I'm going to focus on the jump. So I know, or what I want is I want this character to jump all the way up here. And I want him to jump in this like super intense, like super gladiator style jump. The sword, I would imagine that the sword is gonna be like up here, like ready to destroy whatever is in front of him. This hand right here. Oh, where's the hand? It's gonna go all the way up here. And I like the claw hand that we had before. So I'm just gonna position the hair in a cool shape, like here. Well, let's make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be first, and then we'll polish the hand. So imagine again, kind of like a monkey jump. Think about Spider-Man again, how he creates this sort of like flex on the legs. So we're gonna have something like this. These are the knees. Always try to keep things close to where they're supposed to be. Elbows as well. Close to the actual elbows. There we go. So now we can grab all of the elements here. There we go. Oh my god, did I forget again? I forgot again to do the actual pose. That's fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go to the lower pose here, this one, copy to frame 113, and just start from here. So very quick. I'm just gonna do a quick block in here. So he's gonna go down, and as we saw here, he's gonna move the arm forward. Touch the ground like this. Open up the sword a little bit. Like really go there. I usually like to grab all of them at the same time. Oh, this looks cool again. Kind of like very monkey-like, right? Very like primal. I like this. It says a lot about the character, right? So just hit S. So from here, boom, we're gonna jump like And then here's what I was mentioning about the claw. Like if I really like this claw hand right here, what I can do is just select the curves from the fingers middle mouse click to frame 114, and we're pretty much copy and pasting those elements all the way here. So now if we go to frame 114, you're gonna see that we're with the claw again. So very, very cool, right? And there we go. So we're just starting with this final animation. This is just the first step, but we already have something very, very cool. We have this guy right here, this like very primal looking effect, and then the jump there. Look at that amazing jump. Blah! He's just gonna, he goes into this very nice monkey-like pose, and then he's just gonna jump somewhere else. So there we go. Let's save this real quick, which we haven't saved yet. Let's call this final attack. And I'm gonna stop the video right here, and we'll continue on the next part. Bye-bye.